Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing? I'm Andrea Joyce, and I'm the author of 31 Ways to Self Care. 31 Ways to Self Care is a self guided journal that will help you pour into yourself love, peace, calm, relaxation, love, and allow you to fill yourself up so that you can pour out to others, yourself included. Even though there are 31 ways, right? And I patterned this after 31 ways of the month. However, you don't have to do this every single day. That's why it's self guided. You can go out of order. You can do things the way you want to do it. You don't have to, okay, today is day 20. The date is the 20th. Let me follow, or really today is the 18th. Let me follow along and do it. I want you to take your time and really give each chapter your personal attention. You may do a chapter a week because you may have so much work to do in the chapter. Because even though there are questions here, you can also use a journal and write down some things that may come to you. You may want to answer questions in there. You may want to go deeper. There may be things that come up that you want to write out that may have nothing to do with the chapter that you're in. And that's why I call them chapters instead of days. I used to say day one, day two, but I didn't want people to think that I meant for them to do it every single day or do it in a certain order. This is really for you to be comfortable with. This is for you to walk into, and this is for you to get something out of. I don't want this to just be a book. I want this to be a journal that you're personal with, that you recover some things with, that you heal from. And I want this to be a help to you. Also, I don't want you to just do this once and be done with it. This is something, these self-care tips are tips you can use for the rest of your life. So you can pick up the book again and do it again in next year. You can do it 6 months from now. You can do it 5 years from now. But don't let this collect dust. This should be something that you actively use in order to help you preserve your care for yourself. Okay. So chapter 24 is clean out your closet. This all ties in together. It's so important. This chapter may be like my top 5 of importance for me. And I know I say this all the time. Oh, this chapter is important. Oh, this is key. Oh, this is, and they all are. But there's some things that you have to personally look at and take care of in order to become better, to be in a better place, to grow, to mature, to have that sense of peace, to have joy. And this is one of them. And it's clean out your closet. Now, I want to talk about this in different degrees because it's this serious. In the book, I tell you about things that can come back up. Remember, because we talked about forgiving yourself and letting go of grudges. Here's what happens sometimes. We do the work, we forgive, but then something happens and we're reminded of what happened, and now we're angry. Sorry. You're angry. I saw something in there I want to make note of. You're angry about it, and you're wondering where this anger came from. Well, there was still some residue left when you forgave John. There was still a little piece in there that you hadn't forgiven. And so now it rears its ugly head. Can I share something with you? This is why I had to remind myself. I had to look down real quick. I forgave my father after 30 some odd years. And we are good. We were good. He passed away in 2017. I was still good because I had been able to forgive him. Though I never talked to him about what he had done. He never wanted to entertain the conversation. When he got sick after his second heart attack and his stroke, he then became very repentant. And every time we would talk on the phone, he would cry because it was the guilt that he was feeling and ask my forgiveness. And I told him there was nothing to forgive. I had forgiven him years before all this happened. I was just grateful that I had the opportunity to forgive him. So when he came to me, first of all, I was receptive to being there to help him however I could. And then when he came asking for repentance, it wasn't necessary. And I told him, I've already forgiven you. That is water under the bridge. I say all that to say I forgave him. This is like in 2010 when I forgave him. He passed in 2017. Recently, and I'm telling my business, this is between me and you. I could trust you, right? You ain't gonna put my business in the street? Okay. So you such a good person to me. Recently, I had been in a relationship, a dating relationship. I decided to test the waters in the last couple of years, probably 2016. I decided I was ready to get back out there. Then I kind of buried myself back in, and I wasn't really meeting people. So I just focused on work and business and then books and children. And so I was busy. So last year, 2020, I was like, with everything happening, I don't want to leave this world, to leave this earth without experiencing some things that I want to experience. Boy, it's going to be a second book. I promise you, it's going to be a second book because I'm only adding one more chapter to this one, but I got some things for another book. So look for 31 more ways. But anyway, I decided to get back out there, ride the dating train again. And in the last relationship that I tried, that I tested out, and I'm saying tried, tested out because I was still feeling the waters. I was ready, but then I wasn't sure if I was all the way ready. But I am. That relationship taught me I was. However, in the relationship, the person that I was dating did something that reminded me of my father. Now, I had forgiven my dad. I thought I had forgiven him for abandonment and making me feel a certain way and having a yo-yo relationship with him. But there was one little piece that remained that I know of. It could be something else, but this is what I experienced. So there was an event that was coming up, and the person I was dating promised up and down he would be there. I was like, okay. I gave him months notice, not even weeks, not even days. I gave him months notice. And he was like, oh, yes, I'll be there. I'll make sure I change my schedule. I'll make sure everything is good. I'll be there. I left it alone. So maybe closer to time of the event, maybe 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out. Are you sure you good? Everything? He had it in hand. Don't worry about it. He'll be there. A couple of days before the event, I overheard him talking to somebody else saying, oh, I'm not going to be able to attend that event. So not to me, but to somebody else, I just happened to overhear. I'm very good hearing. And I became angry. Oh, I was angry. I was insufferable. Oh my gosh, it was horrible. I didn't go off. I didn't, disrespect him or anything like that. When I said I got angry, I just was done. I was overdone. And I wondered why I got so angry about him not coming. He didn't say it the day of. He didn't say it the day before. He actually might have said it like a week or 5 days before. So it wasn't even last minute. But it was the fact that I counted on him. I trusted what he said, and I wanted him to follow through. Why, Andrea, why did you get so upset? Well, if I look at my history, and this is what cleaning out your closet does, because I had to have a come to myself meeting. When I was young, one of the things I used to do, and I talked about this in Seeing Past the Storm, remember my book up there, I used to wait for my father to show up. I would take a bath, clean my room. I couldn't go outside and play with my friends. I would tell them, hey, my dad is coming. This is not a good time for us to link up. I can't play right now. I got to get ready. I would get ready and I would be sitting in my window like this, waiting for him to show up. Here's the crazier thing. My father changed cars like most people change undergarments. So I never knew which car was his because anytime he showed up, it'd be a different car. So I didn't know what he'd be driving. So every car that came on my block, I was like this. That was me. So I would be excited when I saw a car that I didn't recognize, because I lived on a street and my street wasn't that busy. So for you to come down my block, there was a grocery store like three blocks away from me. Well, there was a main street 2 blocks away from me on both sides. But to come past my house, there was a main street that was, more activity. So you could have been going there, or another block down, you were going to the grocery store, but still, there wasn't that much activity for there to be that many cars coming down my block. So I'm just excited because I know he's coming. I know this is the time. This is it. Car after car would pass. There would be no phone call. So surely he's coming. Hours would pass. It would get dark. I would be sitting like this, waiting for him to show up. When I was younger, my mom would come and pick me up or wake me and have me take my bath and go to bed. When I got older, she would just like shake me and say, hey, he didn't come. It's 10 o'clock at night. It's 9 o'clock. It's 11 o'clock. He's not coming. And I'm like, did he call? He didn't call. And that gave me a feeling of resentment for not being able to trust what he said. So I became a person who did not like promises. I became a person who did not trust you when you said you were going to do something. And I hated expectation. I didn't want to expect anything. I just wanted it to happen. Don't tell me about it, just do it. I did not realize I suffered with these things until this last relationship. When he said he was going to do something for the first time in a long time, I expected it to happen. You promised me, so I trust you at your word. It's going to happen. And when he did not do it, I went back to that 5-year-old girl, because that's when it first happened. I see my outfit. I see the sweater. I see the Mary Janes I had on, the cute little shoes and the tights, my hair in bows. I see me. And I went back to her, and I was hurt, devastated, and I went into this angry place, this place of rage, because here we go again. I had not dealt with the feeling of being disappointed, being let down. I had not dealt with it. And so here it was, all these years later, raising its ugly head again. This is why cleaning out your closet is so important. Yes, we forgive. Remember, I forgave my dad. It's okay. You did it. Okay, it's not okay. You did it. I forgive it. It's all right. I'm not hurt. I'm not crying anymore. I'm not yelling. I don't want you to fall off a cliff. I'm being honest, because I had some very bad thoughts about my biological father. I'm not even going to sit here and lie to you. But I was done with it. But I never went in and said, he lied to me. Have I truly forgiven being lied to? He stood me up. Have I really and truly forgiven being stood up? He had my expectations up and then dropped me. I couldn't trust him. See, I didn't go in and look at all the issues I was dealing with. I just did a general, I forgive you, and I'm at peace with what you did to me. But I never went in and looked at the specifics of what he did so I could specifically forgive it, so there would be no remnant left. So the root would be pulled up completely. But because I had not done that, now here it was, all those years later. I forgave him in 2010. And we're talking about 2021, 2020, 2021-ish. Here it is. Bam, right in my face. I feel like 5-year-old Andrea again. And I was shook and devastated. It took me a while to get over. I didn't forgive the person. Can I just be honest? I'm forgiven now. But that ruined our relationship. There was nothing he could do to make up the relationship because he was dealing with this wall that was impenetrable because it was the 5-year old wall, 6-year old, 7-year old, 8-year old, 9-year old, 10-year old to the age that I was at that time. It had grown just that quick because you did the very thing I had not dealt with my father. It was good though. You know why? Because it showed me where I needed to be healed. So I had to go and pray. I had to give that all to God and ask Him to help me heal it. That's the first thing. And once I asked God to help me heal it and I felt myself releasing, I cried. I cried like a baby because I was crying for 5-year-old Andrea, 6-year-old Andrea, 15-year-old Andrea, 20-year-old Andrea, 25-year-old Andrea. That's all you're going to know about my age. I cried for all those Andreas, all those years, all those times I cried. And I probably cried and worked on it for a month. And I felt released after that time. And so now I'm mindful to make sure, hey, what's inside of me that I need cleaning? What needs to come out? So this is what I'm talking about with cleaning out your closet. It's very important to know emotionally what you've got going on, mentally what you've got going on, physically what you've got going on, financially what you've got going on, relationally what you've got going on. I'm missing one. Did I say spiritually? I did. Did I say spiritually? Going on. You have to check all those areas just to see where you stand and what's happening. So that way you do not misdirect or project onto somebody else something they don't deserve. Now, was he wrong? Yep, because he promised me something he didn't do. Okay, but it kind of wasn't in his control and it kind of was because he assumed he could get the time. He didn't ask for the time. So that part was definitely his responsibility. But should I have been as angry? Should I have been cutting up? Should I have been not taking his calls? No. And for that, I had to ask forgiveness. Shutting down our relationship, for that, I had to ask for forgiveness. I didn't want to be in relationship with him after that, though. So, the Tiffany ring is still not on the finger. I'm still single. But it's something that needed to be addressed within me. So check yourself and see if you have anything that you need to clean out. It's a spring cleaning. There are things that may be dwelling within you. You think you're okay, but really sit down with yourself. Remember the look inside chapter? This is an extended part of it because now you're really inspecting. And I'm so glad I wrote this. I'm glad I wrote this book and that this chapter was given to me by God because it's something that helped me. If I hadn't written this, I wouldn't have known what I was feeling or how to do or what to do. So I'm thankful. So this book has been such a blessing to me and I hope it blesses you too. Spring cleaning, cleaning out your closet. Think of it in the physical. In the spring or right before spring hits, you know how we're washing windows inside and out. We're pulling them down to wash them and we're getting the ledge and we're sweeping and mopping and pulling down the winter blinds and not blinds, curtains, and we're putting up the spring curtains, drapes, the winter drapes, and putting up the spring curtains. Things are lighter. This is what you need to do for yourself mentally and all the other that I said earlier. You need to take time to go through every area of your life and see what needs to be cleaned out. You may physically have to throw some things away. One of the things, and I know this is long, but bear with me. One of the things I used to suggest to people who were out of relationships was to throw out the reminders of that person. Here's what I know for sure. When you start dating someone new, they don't want to see you. Oh, Robert gave me this. Meanwhile, John is looking at you like, Robert is no longer in your life. Why do you still have it? They don't want to see pictures of you and Robert up. He's new. He's here. He wants that attention and that affection and those dreamy expressions that you have. It's hard being in a relationship for two with three people in it. And unfortunately, we bring a third party in sometimes. I'm not talking about infidelity. I'm talking about because you still have the reminder of the other person. So sometimes you have to, I don't even want to say sometimes, but I'm going to say sometimes just to be politically correct. Sometimes you need to throw out that stuff from that other person. You need to get rid of it. Return it or get rid of it. Give it away, but just don't keep it. And then you need to clean out your heart. Allow yourself to heal from what may not have worked out in the relationship. Be honest. So many times we talk about breaking up with someone and we blame the other party for it. Sometimes it's us. So we got to be honest. I had to be honest. I am not always the greatest of people. I was talking to my baby sister, Amina, another author, Amina Jenkins. I was talking to my baby sister and I said to her, there are some times I'm moody. We both agree that we're both moody. I'm moody, I'm rah, and that's just real. And nothing could be wrong. It's just I'm moody today. And I have to wear that. So I'm not the best person all the time. So I can't sit here and say in every relationship, I was the good guy, they were the bad guys. No, no, no. Absolutely not. And you have to admit your flaws, your faults. How else are you going to be able to heal from them if you won't even deal with them? Okay. So you sit down and say, this didn't work. And I'm not just talking about marriage or dating relationships. I'm talking about in business, in friendship, in the different groups you may be in. You have to do a spring cleaning, a cleaning of your closet, cleaning out of your closet in every area of your life. You might be good in relationship, but you're bad in leadership. And you need to know these things so that you can move forward and progress. No one wants to be on a hamster wheel. You doing all of this. Yes, I'm working. I'm sewing. I'm helping. I'm doing. And you're going nowhere. It's just a waste of time. And we're not wasting time. Time matters. So we're going to press forward. So take your time to go through this chapter. And I suggest the questions that are in this chapter, you do them for the physical, the mental, the physical first by itself, or not first, by itself. Then you look at it from the mental, the emotional, the relational, the financial, the spiritual, and any other all I missed to see if you're okay, if things are well, if things are right. There are times we get involved in stuff and we have not let go in the areas we needed to let go in. And it's at the detriment of relationships. It's at the detriment of family relationships. It's at the detriment of friendships. So, please, for me, clean out your closet and be honest. Be honest. You may have to do some things physically. You may have to release some things mentally and emotionally. You may have to pick some things up spiritually. But please, clean out your closet. It is one of the greatest ways to self-care. Self-care matters. It's something you should prioritize every single day.